So at that point, that's the first big challenge that I ever faced in my life, understanding that and knowing that, like, okay, this is not a love game out here.
Right, right,
You know what I mean?
right.
This is a a entity that I
Mm,
walk into, and that changed the game for me.
back to another podcast with Career Transformation Academy. I am your host, Mark Thompson, your interview expert, here with another banger of a podcast. I have a special and incredible guest with me, my brother, my roommate. We've been everything. Football players at University of Richmond. He is a mentor, leader, and entrepreneur. I want you guys to welcome Mr. Lee Williams. Say what's up to everybody, sir.
What's up? What's up, everybody? I'm glad to be here, man. I'm
Glad
loving
to
what you
have
got
you.
going on here. Loving what you got going on here.
Man, I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. I know I had to get you on here because you are a man of many talents. You're a man of many skills. You're a man of an incredible mindset. Your journey is something that I really want to have recorded, documented, and just talk about it. So, I mean, let's jump into it. We don't have nothing else to go into. We got to learn about the man Lee Williams, man. So, tell me about yourself and your career journey. Let the people know.
But starting back from just my foundation, which is my upbringing,
Mhm.
and that was the biggest thing that's gonna mold everything in my whole life and mindset. So I grew up with a very spiritual background and a
Mhm.
spiritual foundation, and grew up in the country, Carthage, North Carolina. Shout out C City.
Shout out to C Town.
and and so I grew up in that area. It was a very rural area, but it was an area that was very tight knit community, and
Mhm.
that molded like the energy to develop me as a person, as a man, even when I did not know it. And you know what it was, when we used to grow up back in the days,
Right.
you got, sister Bertha or somebody around the corner, like everybody's looking after you, you know what I mean? Don't you
Yeah.
do that? You know what your mama did, but that's
Yeah.
that's the type of environment that I grew up in. And
Mhm.
that created, like I said, church was all day, um, every day on the weekdays, etc. So I grew up
Right.
in that environment, and athletics then came another thing to to mold my my foundational beliefs, all of those
Mhm.
things. So those backgrounds. So I say that because that is a total foundational part of who I am at today as a man. So obviously being
Right.
in athletics, being able to go to University of Richmond, obviously where we met and played football together, all those experiences start to develop me to a person to when I started to enter the corporate world. I
Mhm.
was religious studies major in college. So that right there opened me up, my mind up to a lot more having a religious type of spiritual foundation, which
Mhm.
opened my mind up to a lot more possibilities when I was able to break through the thoughts of what I had only learned in a very small town. So
Mhm.
that as we start to get out of college and go into the workforce, I've only worked for Fortune 500 companies in the corporate
Mhm.
space. So starting out there at Enterprise Rent a Car, shout out Enterprise Rent a Car also, because
Mhm.
every level in my journey has meant something. Every level in my journey has given me more wisdom to develop to when I get to where I am today.
Mhm.
So worked at Enterprise Rent a Car management trainee program, worked up to be a manager in about a year and a half fairly quickly because I'm very competitive and
Right.
I had that ambition to succeed because when you first got out of college, money is the thing.
Exactly.
Um, that's what we're told. We're told I was very
Yeah.
ambitious. We're here to go get it. And when we got out, it was six figures. That's what you had to have to be a man. And that's what I thought it was the most important thing at the time.
Mhm.
And that's like I said, you find there stages in life of that. So
Right.
after that, at the Enterprise Rent a Car, I got into it in the insurance industry. which is as adjusting with Travelers Insurance, another Fortune 500 company. And
Mhm.
in that space is where I would say I got into my, true adult career space. And
Mhm.
that space taught me about everything that the trials, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Right.
The all of the trials and the tribulations, that things just don't go according to plan, like in sports. Like there's a lot more
Right.
political things that go on within the corporate space, and I just got introduced to that. We were never introduced to like things as race or anything like that.
Right.
Um, really in sports, because if you could ball, you could ball, and
Right.
that person was going to play, and
Right.
everybody could see it. So getting introduced to those things and learning how to navigate those things and not just get down about those things and
Mhm.
readjust myself, that created another space in me of development. But like I said, the foundation of that was in sports that created that type of mindset. So moving up in that, I got into a position where I could be able to really support the family and really start a family and do those things.
Mhm.
Getting married at about 29 years old, actually, and
Mhm. I was there.
being say, oh yeah, I know you were there, obviously, but getting married there, and just really maturing in that space of like really, hey, this is work now. I want to really develop something and do something. So I really started attacking my job, and I
Mhm.
got to the position to where I was traveling a lot, but I was making some really good money, and I didn't ever think I could even be in that position to do that. Like
Right.
growing up from the beginning, I never saw myself in that space or making really good money and learning how to network on, what we call code switching
Yes.
in our culture. I've never understood how to navigate that, and I had to learn those things as I grew into my career, and a successful
Mhm.
one at that. But along the time when my daughter was born, something else turned on to me, and it was like, I've got
Mm.
this kind of career thing figured out now, because I was about 32 at the time, so I had about a good
Mhm.
10 years to kind of go and understand how it works and how to navigate all of those things with only
Yeah.
my actions, with only my actions. And that right there, creating that kind of a mindset drove me into understanding, with my business partner. Me and him were having a meeting on the back porch and said, what are we actually doing with our life? We're making good
Mm.
money. Both of us were making six figures, and we wanted to really think about what are we doing with our life. And that's when I became an entrepreneur. And that was
Mm.
in 2014. 2014 happened. Um, and with Positive One, our mission was to empower and encourage people to think positively by building up the self awareness, self confidence, and self worth. Because we knew there was a void in our community. Because in our
Mm.
neighborhoods, in both of our respective neighborhoods in Charlotte, we didn't have many people that looked like us.
Right.
And we thought it had to come from, a mindset space, because we know if you're caught up in whatever culture that you're in or whatever environment you're in, you're probably going to be that. And in
Mhm.
Charlotte, North Carolina, we wanted to make sure that we brought awareness to the thought pattern, and also the results of what types of thought patterns can create over time, and the impact
Mm.
of one set thought pattern can create on a community of people.
Mhm.
Um, and that's where it got down to my real true work, which is our nonprofit and the On My Genius campaign. So I
Mm.
have that, the company as far as a Positive One, which is all about mindset, and that was going really thriving really well to up until 2020. And because we did a lot of workshop seminars for Charlotte Mecklenburg schools. We've been around in the entire area here. We worked at the domestic violence shelter here. We had a contract with them, but all of
Mhm.
those things came to a halt in 2020 because of the pandemic. Um,
Mhm.
and just backing up, in 2016, I left my job and did all of that full time for 5 years straight. So
Mhm.
there's a need for the mindset space, and there's a need for self awareness. All of those things, just like with this program right here, there's just a need for these things. And
Mhm.
when you are in your career, along your journey, as for me, I found there was way more things out there than money. There was way more
Right.
things out there that of value that money um could not buy. And
Yeah.
it's like having, like I said, my kid had that impact on me in my life because I was career,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had a kid, and it was just like, what am I doing with my life? And I want to make
Right.
sure that whatever I'm doing, that she's proud, and I'm going to be able to be successful, not for her, but for just more all of humanity, because she's going to be good because she's with me,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But further in my career, like I said, after 2020, hung on for a little while until
Mm-hmm.
contracts got, we couldn't keep up with the contracts, but the nonprofit is still going on very strong right now. And that
Mm-hmm.
right there, our mission is to reduce negative life outcomes for young people by building up their self awareness, self confidence, and self worth. And a community that we live in, Charlotte, the west side of Charlotte, there's a Princeton study that came out in 2016 that
Mm-hmm.
said in the city of Charlotte, if you are born in if you are born in a poverty area, you have a 2% chance of getting out of that.
Wow.
That's 2%. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's an entire community of poverty people in Charlotte that have a 2% chance of getting out of poverty
Mm-hmm.
just off of where they live in an environment.
Yeah.
So instead of having more meetings about that, I wanted to really make a change in that and starting with the youth. So that's my part of my life's work and what I do. So that is my career
Yeah.
and life's work of that.
Man, trust me,
Yeah.
I like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat or downplay what you have done because a lot of people, what you've shown when taking some notes down on what you said, you've had a lot of steps in your life to help you develop, and you
Hmm.
develop in each stage. You took another step, you developed in that
Yeah.
area, and what it did, it kind of showed you there's a space of fulfillment that needs to be met as well as the career side. I think a lot of people, see the dollars, but
Yeah.
again, to be in a successful lifestyle, career, family, you need to have fulfillment. And you saw that opportunity because a lot of times people think, age makes you
Hmm.
have a great life. No, it's how wide you live your life. And when you live your
Hmm.
life wide, you start to do the things that impact others because this life is not just yours. You're here to impact multiple people, and what you're doing, man, is just is it's incredible. What the kids
I
that you're
appreciate it.
impacting, the people that you're getting to, that took some insight into who you are to take another deep breath to say, what do I need to do? Who am I? What can I give? And look, your daughter, she sparked it. Is crazy
Mhm.
how our
Yeah, it's crazy.
kids
Yeah, yeah,
spark
yeah. Hmm.
everything, man.
Everything, everything.
I can say the same thing about
Yeah.
my daughter, to inspire me to do more things, not only for her,
Hmm.
but then I looked at it like there's other people who need my expertise, my
Yeah.
skills, my knowledge. How can
Hmm.
I give back? And you, my friend, have done that. You've done that in tremendous ways. So corporate
Yeah.
ways and in entrepreneurship. So let's dig deep into that. I know you've probably gone through many challenges in the entrepreneur space,
Hmm.
and one of the things I want to just kind of uncover is like, how do you embrace challenges? How do you go through it, but then how do you embrace it to support your initiatives going in an entrepreneur space?
Like, now I'll continue to probably reach back to the foundational part of what I talked about,
Hmm.
which is athletics and spirituality. Um,
Hmm.
and understanding in spirituality, understanding myself is more spiritual, not a religious space, but more understanding myself and how I felt that I evolved and I grew best to be
Hmm.
me. And then with the athletic space was that just dog to like, yo, I know I can do this because I've seen the results of my work before.
Right, right,
I've
right,
seen the
right.
results of that in every, and when you're in high school, every person has a story that gets to the college level, like
Hmm.
no matter the level. And that story, you had to go through something, you had to do something because you stood out. So there was an individual
Hmm.
story that was there. And that worked for me. I come from this little bitty town,
Hmm.
from a school that didn't produce hardly any college football D1 athletes. and we're not even a powerhouse as far as college, I mean high school football teams at
Right.
all.
Right. Right.
And I made it in my mindset that that time that I was going to do that. I
Mm-hmm.
made that up when I was probably 15, and it worked. So luckily for me, I was able to tap into that self confidence space or ability, self worth, and really embody that because I got a good result out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, when it comes to entrepreneurship or corporate America or something that I have a goal that I want to do, I've
Mm-hmm.
just shifted that mindset to this space in life, in my life's work, because
Mm-hmm.
I believe that all things are obtainable if I just set my path and stay on that straight and narrow as best as possible. Because there's gonna be things that happen
Right.
all the time, but
Right.
that but the fact is I know for sure, no matter what, that it is going to manifest. Maybe not even how I thought it would, but how I asked it to be and how I wanted it to be in the end.
Eh,
You know what I mean?
you got to take it to church on that one, you going through things because it's
Yeah.
helping you get what you need, not what you
Yes.
want. So yes,
Yes.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And the goal is there. It's very simple to me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like the one of my favorite quotes is simplicity is the highest form of sophistication. Keep your
Mm,
goals simple. Like I wanted to make 100K, but before I was 30.
mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, I need to seek out someone that will help me who is already doing that
Right.
and going to get me to that space. It's very simple. I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
wonder. I need to find somebody that's doing it. How do I find that?
Right.
How do I find that? Keep my little antennas aware of everything that's going on around me because what your brain is like a magnet. What
Mm-hmm.
you think, you will attract. That is
Yep.
one of our principles. You become what you think about. Um, and if you think of those things, and it comes at times where you're just in your day, it's not going to be like a floating down of Jesus or God or something like
You're
that.
right.
It's
Right.
like
Right.
it's going to be right there.
Right.
I think we keep looking for that moment,
Yeah.
and it just comes. So that one day it was I was at a Christmas party, and the guy at the company I was working for at the time was like, "Hey, anybody need?" And he was a brother. He
Mm-hmm.
said, "If anybody need anything, want to know anything to help," he was a department head. He said, "Just knock on my door, email me." As soon as I got back, bro,
Yeah.
and that's what that was. And he gave me all the game.
Right.
6 months later, I was there.
Right.
6 months
That's
later.
Man, this is something I preach a lot. I'd say having a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
multiple mentors. Now,
Yes.
as men, we need people that are in the spaces that we're trying to get to, or either at
Mm-hmm.
our level to excel. Women are
Mm-hmm.
definitely different. Women are special, powerful beings. You can do it
Yeah.
by yourself. Women can do everything. They don't need our help, but we need
Yeah.
help,
Yeah.
especially as men, especially as Black men. We
Yeah.
definitely need to have a circle of friends, mentors, people who can support us, but also hold us accountable as well.
Yeah.
And then, kind of circling back to some of the things you said, I kind of want to make sure we understand what you went through helped you tackle and embrace challenges every
Mm-hmm.
day. But what it also did is it builds those things that you go through, those challenges help you
Mm-hmm.
build resilience. And I think
Yeah.
that's what people have to understand.
Yeah.
You can go through anything. And I tell you, like what you said about football, what you said about going through the things in high school, you built
Mm-hmm.
resilience through that whole thing. That was
Yeah.
developing you for
Yeah.
what you're doing today. So that
Yep.
way you could then say, this is easy. I mean, what am
Yeah.
I afraid of
Yeah.
at this
Yeah. And
point?
that, that happened to me like literally one of the biggest challenges that happened to me that I was able to overcome because of the
Mhm.
foundational belief that created the mindset that I have
Mhm.
was when I was working in my first job, I kept applying for these manager positions and I would keep getting denied.
Mm.
And and I'm like, it took me 5 times and I had the best numbers each time and it took me 5 times to get a
Right.
spot, right? And I'm like, man, like they said, sports, right? This is. I
Right.
just need to be able to have the best numbers and best quality score, and I should be that shoe in. And
Right.
I kept getting things like, you're not interviewing well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you talk a little country, or like all of those little things that I've never heard in my life, because when you're an athlete and you
Mm-hmm.
do well in sports, nobody's saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it did force me to reflect still, because I reflect on everything now. Now I can choose to intake that, or I can choose to discard it if it's
Right.
true or not. But you still get to evaluate it.
Mm-hmm.
And those things happen, like, to the point where I finally got a management position, started building
Mm-hmm.
relationships. Another obstacle come, and I started smoozing in that space, playing golf with my
Right.
district manager and everything. And turns in one of the biggest stores in the district was one of his stores, and I was in position to have a promotion. I played golf with him on probably at least a monthly basis. He's
Mm-hmm.
been my manager. I'm thinking I'm shoo-in for that. He
Right.
hired he hired someone else.
Mm.
And the same thing, what it turned out was, he told one of my business partners today, because my business partner was actually a district manager too at the same company, which is how we
Mm-hmm.
linked up. He told him that he just wanted to have a stronger area, so he wanted to keep me and bring someone else in, so it would be less work and
Mm.
he could make more money. So at that point, that's the first big challenge that I ever faced in my life, understanding that and knowing that, like, okay, this is not a love game out here.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
This is a entity that I
Mm.
walk into, and that changed the game for me.
Mm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
coming with a spiritual background, coming with a morality type of cause background, I just want to be able to help people, and help and let them enjoy their successes as I have and do mine.
Right.
But understanding the game was different, and understanding there's so many different dimensions of this life and how people
Right.
are, and you can't take any of that stuff personal.
Right. Not at
So
all.
that
Not at all.
that is what that's what the biggest, I could say, event that maybe happened in my life that changed my entire perspective of,
Mm.
like, mindset in this corporate space.
Mm-hmm. That's that's an awesome segue, because to the average person that seems like failure. Even though
Yeah.
you were doing good, that
Yeah.
seems like
Yeah.
failure.
Oh yeah.
So, I talk about this, and I want to address this, with the folks in the audience, and also on the students in my on my course, is that, you know, you have to learn how to move past failure. You have to
Hmm.
learn how to, look at failure as an opportunity. You not getting that district manager job meant there was something else.
Hmm. Yeah.
A lot of times people don't think that they'll
Yeah.
go down, but what you didn't get means there was something else.
Hmm.
Especially if what we just talked about, you had the mindset of saying, "This is where I want to go. This is what I want to
Yeah.
do. This is what I believe in.
Hmm.
This is what I'm attracting." But that wasn't
Yeah.
it. That's not a
Yeah. That
bad
wasn't
thing.
it. That's
That's just
not.
it.
That's
Is
not.
that's
Yeah.
all you got to do. If I don't get this
Yeah.
job that I said I wanted, that wasn't it. It was
Yeah.
something else that's better for me, so I can be in position to keep opening more doors. And that's
Hmm.
pretty much how life is, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. That was
It
good.
is. Yeah, and J. Cole said it best, man, when he said,
Mhm.
the good news is you came a long way. The
Right.
sad news is
You
that you went the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
right,
But
right.
but that's okay though. You
It's
realize it, and you
okay.
can get the right thing. So that effort, and it's gonna happen, because life is long, bro. Life
Yeah.
is long. If you're lucky enough to even get to where we are, like, you'll
Right.
have so many experiences, and we have so much more to learn. But I've understood that now, that there's a path of all
Mm.
of us that we have. And if we don't have, make sure that we don't have these just knee jerk reactions to these storms that come into our life. They can't be,
Mhm.
like, if you can understand that not that all storms come, all storms pass. If you can understand that that is just the emotion of the moment and not the long
Mm.
term outset of it,
Right.
you will be successful in anything that you want to do, because
Anything.
it's all about just waiting out that storm and staying diligent in what you do, because I have learned this in my 42 years that
Mm.
most people quit.
Yeah. But hey, and I tell people all the
Yeah.
time, you're the person who put me onto this.
Yeah.
People quit because it's comfortable. You said
It's
comfortable is a
comfortable, man.
beautiful place, but is
Beautiful place, man.
nothing ever grows there. When you
Nothing
said
ever
that,
grows there.
I've been
Yep.
writing that down and telling
Yeah.
people everywhere.
Yep.
Nothing
Nothing ever
grows
grows
in
there.
comfort.
Nothing
Nothing
grows there.
grows.
Like
So
if you're not growing, you're dying.
yes,
Like we like plants. It's the same thing. If you're not
yes.
growing, you're dying. So in some way, we have an
Hmm.
innate ability to expand, and I'm talking about expand internally. That's
Exactly.
where everything is.
Right.
That's where everything is. There's nothing outside for us. Let me not
That's
get into that space,
yeah,
but
yeah. No, it's awesome to talk about that because I tell people all the time the person that you need to introduce yourself to the person inside of you haven't met
hmm
yet. And the
yep,
only way you get there is to peel off these layers because who
yes,
you are now, you're gonna have to say goodbye to. If
hmm
you want this thing that's up in the sky, you got to say goodbye to this person because the person inside you
hmm
knows how to get there, not this
hmm
person.
yeah,
That's what developing again. That's what building that mindset. That's what resilience does is get you to your next level. But you got to say goodbye to this person. I
yeah,
do it every day. I'm like, man, who I am today. I'm sorry. I like you. I love you. But the other piece of me that wants to get to that goal that I'm trying to reach, I got to discover who that is. And this, man, this is good. We're dropping some good nuggets today, man.
yeah.
Dropping
Well,
some great nuggets.
the ever evolving space is like it's always now, right? So
Mm,
every day you're not the same person that you are if you're currently living in the present at every moment. You know, like
hmm.
we can never recreate this moment that we're having right now, and
Right.
we get to choose to do with our time what we choose to do with, and we choose to create something like this. You know, and that's what
Hmm.
I give kudos to you doing this venture right here, which is excellent because you're leaving a mark that can
Right.
never be replicated, a mark that can never. Everything that you're doing is all original content for yourself, and the knowledge that you're going to gain from it, I'm excited to see, like,
Man,
really am.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I didn't want I guess one other nugget. I saw something online the other day, heard an old man talking about his life. He was like, everything you did is gone. You can never get back to
hmm
that.
yep
And if you think about the average lifespan of a human being, 75, maybe 80 years old, and where I am today, 43, that means I got about 30
hmm
summers left. So
hmm
I need to live every day
every day
incredible. Take
every
my
day
chances, do whatever I can to be. So when I
Mhm.
get to that age, I don't look back and say I didn't do anything
yeah
or try to
yeah
figure it out when I'm 76 years old. You know,
hmm yeah
that was an amazing piece of information right there. I think everybody needs to understand that we got to live for today and do
yep
great things and be great people.
yeah
And it will, like you said, positive energy. I love
yeah
your name, your positive one, and all my genes campaign because you're inviting positive energy. You're
yeah
teaching kids and people to be positive, and those things come back to you.
Yep.
So yeah,
And,
great.
and that's the basic. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. That's the only thing that you can do though.
You're happy, man.
Like
That's all.
we can't do anything else but live in the moment. When we start trying to
Mm,
live outside of those spaces, that's when the anxiety, the stress, the
yes.
all of those things, dis-ease starts to set into ourselves. So like we're living, and once we start actively living in the moment, that is the most joyous place that we could only ever
Mm,
be, because that's the only place we could ever be.
right. 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 So, man, everything we've talked about, we've built into this is about developing a growth mindset. So we've
Mhm.
embraced challenges, we've learned from the failure, and now we're just kind of sorting around cultivating a positive mindset. I mean,
Mhm.
naturally, we went into the topic without me
Yeah,
bringing it up. So,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
good, man. This is good. I love that because again, we said there's a link between positivity and your success and in your
yeah,
career and whatever it is that you want to do. So if you're thinking on a higher level of greatness, and I mean being being exactly what you've been called to do, but also always having that positive energy, you're going to create success for yourself. Yep.
yeah. And in my career path, like, once you start out place, I start out in corporate America,
Hmm.
your life journey is that those things go hand in hand. Your
Hmm.
personal life and what's going on in your personal life is going to affect the things that happen in your career,
Hmm.
and the things that you do and how you operate. So, um, life is an ebb and flow of things. And for my career path, going from first, it was ambitious. I wanted the money, wanted
Mm,
100K. But the great thing was I learned how to get there. So in
mm,
2016, I was able to leave. I mean, I literally checked out. I took everything. I wanted my 401k out, wanted everything out of. I sold two of my houses. I wanted all
mm,
my money to myself because I wanted to bank on myself for whatever
mhm,
venture that I was feeling on at that time. So I left corporate America at that time. I built my money up and took my bag and left.
mhm.
And but the thing is, this is what the experience does, which is the point of the story, is that I knew I had already done it from 22 to 29.
Mm,
And so in my mind, and that's my mindset, it's like if I did it already, then I can do it again whenever I feel like it because I have the content in my
right.
mind to do it again.
Mhm,
So there was no fear of me leaving and dropping everything
right.
because I had already built up the information. I know I could go back and do that anytime I want to.
Mm,
So I went back and did the entrepreneur thing for 5 years, and I have a company and I have a nonprofit still functioning. I have
mhm,
a program director who runs the entire business right now. While I went right back to that thing again and went right back to the corporate space, making the same
right,
money, you know.
right.
So in that time, after that whole 5 years, it was an ebb and flow. It was a lot of things that went
Mm,
through, and then a lot of entrepreneurs. Nothing is always something, with
right.
entrepreneurship, to the point where you're not even, when you're thinking about pencils and paper, like how you gonna
Mm,
get that? Well, you got
right.
to pay for that too.
Right, right, right,
So, like
right.
all of those little things that happen
Mhm,
in running a business for 5 years, like put me back into and after that, 2020 and everything kind of died down, not enough to
mhm,
live off of at least.
right,
Um, Getting back into the corporate space was easy.
right,
It was
right,
really easy. Like
right.
I was like, okay, well, I'm doing this and I've already done this before. I'll just hop back into that. And think about it. Through all that, I came back on the other side and I'm way financially, mentally, spiritually better
Mm,
than I was when I started.
yep,
And that was just because taking a risk.
yep, yep.
So like those, and I'm able to function and have my life works complete. But just because I had the goal in my mind of what
Mhm.
I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, and it will manifest if you just keep pressing toward that space.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's awesome because you're talking about being flexible. You're talking about bending and not breaking.
Hmm.
The resilience behind all of that. That's an incredible story. Let me ask you this last question for you, man. For those, I know we talked about how you had an upbringing, you had a foundation. What advice did you give to that young man or young woman or anybody, even at this stage in life, who don't have those avenues, who didn't have a foundation? How do
Yeah.
they jump into the right mindset to start changing and make a change in their lives?
Well, like the first principle of positive one is to accept my truth. Like
Mm,
whatever that truth may be.
mm,
At some point you don't you may learn that that is not, but you have to have some type of a foundation of whatever it is.
right,
And
right.
find out what is true about you and what it is. And then anything that does not apply, release that from
Mm,
yourself.
that's big.
Um, like you have to release the things that are no longer serving you because
Mm,
they're the dead weight. That's the things that you have to release to be the new you.
right.
And that means friends, and that's going to naturally happen because your energy will start to change. And to anyone
Mm,
uh, that is listening to this, understand like this. Once you are in your own space, people will naturally go outside of your life, and that's okay because you're no longer vibrating that attraction to that energy. It's gonna happen, and
mm,
there's no hard feelings. You're still friends, you still love them,
right.
but you have to be able to understand, like, yo, I'm going through something, and I know for man, at some
Mm,
point comes to that point in their life where um they have that ability to go off and be on it or they want to, and some people take it and
mm,
some people don't.
right.
And it's all about who's comfortable and who's not.
Exactly.
right? So I mean,
Exactly.
like, who wants to stay comfortable, or who wants to keep driving? And if you're comfortable, a lot of times you're gonna stay in the same space. But
Right.
like, I mean, I don't want to get off track there, but like, but like that is like everything that when I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? I'm sorry.
We're talking about what folks need if
Yes,
they don't
yes.
have. Yeah.
If you don't have, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, to create like that mindset. But I can get into something. I can get off
No,
speech off of,
no,
but
it's all good. We do this all the time,
but
so I
yeah,
get
I know, right?
it.
Yeah, yeah. But like the biggest thing that they need is to be able to like find out, like I said, what is true to them.
Mm,
All right. And
right.
then at that point, you can start outwardly as far as
Hmm.
like looking at other things. Because if you don't know who you are, or you can't figure out how you fit in this world, you can't figure out how you're perceived in this world, and then you can't navigate who you
Right.
want to be because
Right.
you don't know your tools yet.
Yep.
You got to know your tools. It's basic. Keep it simple. No, and most people, when you ask them who are you, they can't tell you who they are.
That's very important. I mean, and that's at any level. I don't care if
Yeah,
you're in middle school. You should be able to know who you are and then
yeah.
develop that. And if the earlier you can do it, you can actually start creating your story and getting
Hmm.
yourself in the places that you should be. Because I think we've all been in a space because we didn't know who we are. We wasted time.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we
Oh
sat
yeah.
there. We wasted time until we got there.
Hmm.
So no,
And,
that's
and
good.
let's
That's
yeah, but
good.
to
Go ahead.
to like one final thing, there's like just to say that understanding who you are is a continual
Mm,
evolution of things. It is
right.
not a I'm this person now. I'm definitely not the same person I was when I was 22.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I know that person. He is still within me. I know that person, but the maturity
Hmm.
of the man has grown. You got to give a boy a chance to grow.
Yes.
And like that's what I would give to young people is to enjoy your youth. Um, have a goal and understand yourself. And once you do those things, you will be able to thrive. And I don't mean just like
Mm,
do okay. I mean you will thrive because the key to the future is those who will be able to control their attention.
yes.
Like the battle is for the mind. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Like and you know what I'm saying? And the reward is who gets the soul, man.
Right.
If you control the mind, they control the soul.
Man,
So that is my biggest thing I could give to young people today. You start doing that, you'll thrive.
bro, we have dropped tons of nuggets. We
Yeah.
have dropped tons of nuggets here. I mean, anybody for any age and any level who are really challenged with really growing in their mindset. So I appreciate
Hmm.
you, sir. Man, I mean, I got so many notes right now. We talked about fulfillment, development, embracing challenges, learning from failures, cultivating our mindset. But we talked about a lot of great things here. I think that we can actually, really motivate the students and everybody about students and the audience and everybody's watching this. Man, this is great stuff. So, Lee, tell us how people can learn more about you. How can people connect with you? Where are you at on Instagram? Any social media links?
All right. So let's start with the websites. You can go to www.impositive1.com and get any information about Positive One. You can get information about the clothing brand. You can get information about what we do in the communities. Any services that we offer, you can get that information. You can also follow us on follow me on Facebook. I am Positive One. You can follow us on Instagram at I am Positive One. You can follow us on Instagram for our nonprofit and Facebook on my genius campaign.
Mm.
And you can follow my young kings too. We got a group we do within our nonprofit. Follow them. They are the OMG young guys. It's underscore
Mhm.
OMG young guys putting out
Mm.
positive music in the universe. They got 5 albums out. So there's and also our music. We do those things. We do music too. We didn't even get into that really, but
Yeah,
we do
he does
music. All
music
of
too.
those things are positive music that influence the mind. So you can
Right.
go check out all of our music at Positive One Music. It's I Am John is one of our artists. The OMG Young Guys, and obviously
Mhm.
myself on Positive One. I got an album out, The Wisdom of 40. We got some music coming
Yes.
out now, all to influence the mind. You want to get right in the mind in the morning time, pop in any of those albums, you will feel good and put you in the space. That's what that's another one of my life goals, is to infuse that into our society. So you can check that out. You can go to our website at the nonprofit. It's omgcampaign.org. You can also go to my other business, IamHappyTees.com. We sell t-shirts, got a lot of t-shirt merch there you can get. So just let any of those activities go to any of those things that will lead you to every one of our businesses that we do right now in the community, and for just creating a mindset of positivity in the world.
Man, that's amazing, Lee. And I'm not gonna let it get past. My daughter loves Pancake Day song. Check it out. It's going viral. I'm telling you, it's gonna go viral.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Got his own kids in the music video. That's amazing, bro. That's dope.
Yes, sir.
It's dope. So again, that ends and concludes another awesome podcast with Lee Williams, the mentor, leader, and entrepreneur. I am Mark Thompson, your interview expert. If you want to learn more about career strategies and how to land a high-paying dream job, you can contact me at www.careertransformationacademy.com. We are also on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Career Transformation Academy, and also on TikTok at The Blueprint by CTA. Available to give you content. But if you really want to get deep into what and who you are, let us train you, let us teach you, let us help you change your life. Thank you again, Lee. Thank you for everybody watching. And until next time, we're out. Peace. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, man.
That was good.